Hey, Thomas, I'm down here hiding from the camera smoking a cigarette. Oh, man. There's only two waiting. That would be me and Thomas, but there's three thumbs ups already. Hey, Thomas. Audio okay? JR. How you doing, JR? How's things out in the oil patch? Oh, L and C. Loud and clear. Cool. Got it. I'm a little bit slow, but I get there. Hey, Kayla. How's things over in Chatsworth? Y'all got, what's that big orange thing we've got up in the sky? Bob's in the house. How you doing, Bob? Oh, me. All right. 1 minute late. A little bit. Wait just a couple of minutes. There'll be a couple more that come in for sure. Yeah, JR, gotta change my lighting around so I have some decent lighting. Yeah, you know, Bob, one thing that I have discovered is because when they started all this self distancing or whatever you want to call it, I'm thinking, okay, and this is going to affect me how? I'm either at a doctor's appointment, at the hospital for tests, at the grocery store, or here anyway. So what changes? Hey, Mary Grace, how are you doing this evening? How's things in New York? See, the New York contingent is here in full now. Mary Grace and Thomas are both here. Yeah, Thomas, you're about like me. There's Josh. How you doing, Josh? How's things in Australia? Are they acting as nuts over there as they are over here? Yeah, we'll give everybody about 2, 3 more minutes. There's a couple more that are always in here just a few minutes late. I'm gonna wait on them. Oh me. Josh is sending somebody to freezer camp? Only thing he's got for freezer camp is guinea pigs, I think. So it's just as crazy over there as it is over here. Can you even buy toilet paper in Australia? Because you can't here unless you're right there when the truck unloads. I thought it would have slowed down some by now and didn't go anywhere yesterday. But Friday afternoon, after Cindy got off, we went up to the Walmart up at LJ, and I figured things would have slowed down. There'd be some stuff on the shelves. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that goat. It'll be a while before that goat's ready for freezer camp. Hey, Drifter, how you doing? How's things in either Michigan or Texas? I never know where I'm talking to you from. Can't get toilet paper. Tired of chicken. Oh, Kayla. They had ground beef here, but every store I've been in is limiting how much meat you can buy. They've started limiting how much toilet paper you can buy, how much hand sanitizer you can buy, paper towels, um, rubbing alcohol, which, by the way, give it just a few more people time to get in here. A couple things that are interesting tidbits of information for all that. JR, toilet paper was invented in 1853. No, excuse me, 1857. It's been around for a hundred and, well, 1857, 1957, 53, 153 years, I think, if my math is right. Toilet paper out of the hundreds of thousands of years since man became man, uh, we've only had toilet paper for 150 years. So figure it out. Newspaper, take newspaper, wrinkle it up, stretch it out, rub it around, wrinkle it up some more. It gets just as soft as toilet paper. Of course, if you don't have some gloves on, your hands will be black because of the ink, and then your rear end's going to be black from when you use it, but you'll have toilet paper. First confirmed case in your town. They've got two here, I think, here in Pickens County. And they know where both of them came from, and they came from another county. They went to church last week over in, help me out, Kayla. What county is Cartersville in? June would be able to tell me, but she's not in here yet. Whatever county Cartersville is in, down about 50 miles from here. People went over there to church last Sunday and picked it up because there's 8 or 10 cases that have come out of that church from last Sunday. Sister went to Walmart and they finally had beef, and a lady took 6 big rolls. Well, they've stopped them over here, Kayla. Matter of fact, they're limiting you on ground beef in the Walmart in Jasper. You can have one package of ground beef. Now, if there's the big ones there, those tubes, those are 5-pound tubes. You can have one. When they run out, there's the 1-pound tube. You don't get to get 5, so you can have just as much. You still can only get 1 tube. Let's see. JR, I hadn't seen a Sears and Roebuck catalog in years. Bob, y'all got meat and toilet paper up there. Cool. You've got to be kidding, JR. You know, church services are one thing that, all right. All right. Since we are now 9 minutes late getting started, most everybody's in here. There's a couple more. Yeah, Drifter just asked if he was experiencing buffering. Y'all will probably. I ran a test on my Wi-Fi about 10 minutes before we started, and the speed was okay, but it wasn't up to where I normally am. My upload's usually over 4 megabytes a second, and I think I was at about 3.2, 3.3, so there might be some buffering in here. Hello, Rebecca. How are you doing? Glad to see you came back. As a matter of fact, you're just in time because we've just been sort of chit-chatting back and forth in the chat. I hadn't even started what I was going to talk about tonight yet. All right. Going to talk about the virus. The virus. Elvira. Maybe they can make a song out of that. Talk about the virus. Now, if y'all probably know from if you were in last Sunday, or some videos that I've done, the uploaded videos I've done, my personal opinion is that the virus is a bunch of crap. Okay? Hey, Lily, how you doing? Does it exist? Yes. Is it as bad as they say it is? No, I don't think so. My personal opinion is no. I think it's going to be about like the flu. When all is said and done, as far as the number of people that die and all like that, it's going to be worse than some of the strains of flu, and it's going to be not as bad as others. That's where I think all this is going to wind up. With that said, you're going to hear me say something right now that I very, very rarely say. And my daughter-in-law, Kayla, sits in the chat. She is going to pass out and fall out of her chair on the floor. But anyway, I could be wrong. Yes, Kayla, I said that. I am rarely wrong. I'm always right. After all, I know everything. That's what I always used to say. I don't think there's a whole lot to this, but I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, and everybody acts based on, well, people are saying there's nothing to this, a lot of people would die. More people than would otherwise. So what we're doing around here, what I suggest folks do, in case I'm wrong, I saw what you said, Kayla. You didn't pass out? You're not laying on the floor passed out? Kayla will tell you, even if I'm wrong, I won't admit it half the time. And I'm not wrong anyway. But I'm suggesting people do within reason what's being suggested. Now, what do I mean about within reason? The not self-isolation, what do they call it? Self-distancing, 6 feet. If you're 5.5 feet, okay. Maybe you'll be 7 feet. I don't know. But it's not a bad idea. In regular flu season, it's not a bad idea. I mean, who wants to get right in front of somebody that's sneezing during flu season? I don't. I don't want somebody sneezing on me, even if it's not the flu season. So the distancing is okay. I think they're going way overboard when they start closing as many businesses as they are. On the other hand, there are people that are idiots. If you saw, not the last video I did, not the one about, after this is all over with, I'll put a little iCard. I forget it's over here or over here. I'll put a little iCard up there from my last video about kids going into grocery stores in twos, one of them with a camera and the other one going over to the produce section and just hacking all over the produce, and the other kid filming them and putting it up on YouTube. That's nasty, even if there isn't any such thing as coronavirus. But I'll put a card up to that video. And then there was one before about how crazy the kids were acting, college kids down in Florida and along the Gulf, over in Texas coast during spring break, and how the kids' attitudes were. And I'll put an iCard up about that too. I'll put another iCard up there or up there, wherever it goes, about that. And I'm not talking about don't go crazy because kids should be able to act like they do during spring break and all that. I'm talking about, well, first of all, Don't go out and buy every damn roll of toilet paper you can get your hands on. You can't use that much toilet paper in 10 years. When the store gets some in, if you clean them out, number one, you can't use it all. Number two, the next guy that wants a roll of toilet paper can't get it because you got it all. And number three, what some stores are doing, and what I hope they do in this case, all those things that are flying off the shelves in stupid numbers, toilet paper, paper towels, those sanitary wipe things, like things like this Clorox, they're not going to take them back. All you have to do is go into Walmart with your product and your receipt, and they'll give you a refund. You're not going to get a refund on that stuff. Hand sanitizer, bottles of rubbing alcohol, you're not going to get a refund on that kind of stuff. So when you go in and buy 3,982 rolls of toilet paper, you better be supplying your neighborhood for the next 10 years because you ain't going to go get your money back. That's what a lot of people are thinking. We can buy it and we can either sell it for double or triple the price. And if we can't sell it, we can always get our money back. No, you're not. You're just going to have lots of toilet paper for a while. Oh, before I put that away, I want to point something out to y'all. This coronavirus thing is supposed to be such a big deal and brand new and we don't know anything about it, blah, 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 blah. Well, even Clorox wipes have an expiration date on them. The expiration date on this particular canister of them was 7 years ago. You know what else is on this particular canister? Back here in the fine print, I can't get it close enough that you'd be able to read it. But back here, it tells you what it will kill. It's 7 years out of date, and it says coronavirus on here. So just how new is coronavirus? Clorox knew about it over 7 years ago, and these killed it over 7 years ago. It's an easy bug to kill before you get sick. Once you get sick, depending on how sick you get, it can be tougher. But the virus itself is an easy one to kill. The cell membrane on coronavirus is a very tender, very fragile membrane. Plain old soap, just hand soap, like you wash your hands, will puncture that membrane and kill the cell before it gets in anybody. You don't have to be using Clorox wipes or alcohol or anything like that. Just wash your hands with plain old soap. That'll do it. What else? Use some sense. Don't be getting all in people's faces. And it is easy for me to say this self-isolating or self-distancing because it turns out that that's about how we live around here anyway. But for people who are used to getting out and going somewhere, find something to do around the house that you normally wouldn't do that's relaxing. Don't let all this hype get you all tied up in knots. Now, most of these people in here, I know most of them, I know enough about them. No, there's not a lot with small kids in here. I know Kayla does. My daughter-in-law, she's got 3 of my grand-youngins over there. 2 boys and a little girl. There might be some other people in here, kids, maybe grandkids. When was the last time, instead of them looking at a screen or, running around with their thumbs on their phones? Kids shouldn't have phones anyway. But when was the last time y'all pulled down a game of Candyland? Or for older kids that understand the rules enough to play, pulled the old Monopoly game out. Or took a deck of cards and played cards. The whole world doesn't revolve around a screen that you can type into and this is not the entire world. And this phone I'm doing this on, that's not the entire world. That's not the only place entertainment exists. If I had small kids here, I got 2.5 acres of woods. Get kids to use their imagination. Teach them how to play cowboys and Indians like we did when we were little. wouldn't be very hard. Let me go through the comments before they scroll out of sight. I'll be right back. Yeah, Bob, infection rates. Infection rate is pretty low. I'm not even going to try to quote anything on that because I can't remember. Josh and JR, you really can't come up with a death rate yet. Not this soon into it. Statistics are built over time. And over time, 6 months from now when you look back, the death rate on this might be higher than the flu, might be not as bad as the flu. We really don't know. We know what it is for a small number of people who have been tested, number one. We don't know how many people out there that are elderly and die of pneumonia because things just started getting tested and they're still not, everybody doesn't get tested. Their death certificate might say pneumonia, or might say heart attack from the stress on their body. And it might be coronavirus. On the other hand, it might not be. It might be a heart attack or the flu or some other problem. We really need more time to build true statistics. You got that right, JR. Nobody wants to be educated. Sadly, a good bit of America wants to be led around by the nose. Drifter, some fool trying to learn to play the guitar, or trying to play the guitar. Who would that be? Bob, you're going into town after we're talking about self-distancing. Make sure you go through the drive-thrus if you go to get something to eat. I know, just giving you a hard time. Yeah, I know, Drifter. You're trying to play the guitar. That's okay. I wish I had some wind left because I don't breathe very good and it has nothing to do with the coronavirus. It has to do with, let's see, I'm 65 and I started smoking when I was 13, so that's 52 years of smoking and COPD, emphysema, and stuff like that. That's why I don't have any wind left. I wish I did. I used to play bagpipes. I don't have enough wind to play the bagpipes anymore. But back in my drinking days, I'll tell you all a little story. Back in my drinking days, the house that was here where the yurt is, but the house that burned down, a little 4x4 front porch on it. And I'm about 75 feet from the road that runs in front of my house. And there's some trees out there, and it's not real open to the road, but it's not real totally screened off either. And back in my drinking days, I'd get up about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, start naked, get my bagpipes, and go out on the front porch with my bagpipes and play Scotland the Brave every morning. That was reveille around here with Bob playing Scotland the Brave in the buff. I don't do that anymore. I'm sober now, so I don't do that anymore. I don't have enough wind to play the bagpipes anyway. But boy, I sure put on a show around here back when I was drinking. Let me catch the chat. I'll be right back. Lily, I would be willing to bet you that this garbage that's been going around has been here since at least November. And here's why. It started in Hunan province in China. That's where all this is supposed to have originated. Hunan province is the main city there is a technological city. It's kind of the Silicon Valley of China. Now stop and think about it. Apple phones are put together over there. Most cell phones are put together over there. By most, I don't mean all, but I mean most, in one city in Hunan, China. Hunan province. And lots of other stuff. Go to Walmart. Electronic scale for your bathroom, see if you're gaining weight. Probably put together right in that area. In other words, a lot of stuff is put together that we buy is put together in that area. Now, since we're their biggest customer, don't you think Apple executives that live in the United States went to Hunan on business trips back in November? Don't you think that executives with all these corporations paid a visit to the factories that put their stuff together, talk over business deals with them and all that? And don't you think people over there that own those companies, the Chinese that own those companies, came over here to talk to Apple executives and everybody that was buying their stuff? I've seen in trade shows, I've seen Chinese over here hawking their wares in trade shows. Trade shows directed at business, trying to sell their stuff to businesses so businesses would sell them. Now, if all this started in China in November, and we had executives going over there to check on the factories and make sure everything was being done right, and they had executives coming over here to try to sell their stuff and keep their customers over here happy, and it started in November, that means that stuff was coming back and forth across the Pacific in November. Same time it started over there. There were people leaving that area, coming to the United States, and bringing it here. I have no doubt that it got here that early. I got a little trailer that I rent, and I got a guy living in it that back in January was sick as a dog. I mean, it felt terrible. And all the symptoms of coronavirus. And last week I was thinking about it, and I would be willing to bet you that he's got coronavirus. Because the company he works for does business with foreign companies. I'm going to guess the Chinese. And the bosses at his company had gone to a trade show in Las Vegas, mingling with everybody over there that was there to buy that product for that industry. Boss could have picked it up, brought it back, and my tenant could have got it that way. But his were classic symptoms of the coronavirus. And that was back early to mid-January. It was very shortly after Christmas. All right, hang on a second. JR, not just medicine. Anything that is critical. I'm not talking about your KitchenAid mixer. Anything that is critical needs to be made on these shores. Medicines, we get 95% of our antibiotics from China. China's already threatened to cut them off. Can you imagine no antibiotics? Now, antibiotics are overused. That's why everything builds up resistance to them. Somebody's got a problem, give an antibiotic. It'll take care of the infection. But China has already threatened in the last 3 or 4 weeks to cut off our supply of antibiotics. They make 95% of what we need. They make a lot of the electronics that is in our advanced weapons systems for the Department of Defense. The F-22 Raptor, a lot of the electronics in that thing, plane might be built by Lockheed, but a lot of the electronics come from China. F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, built by Lockheed, but it's got a lot of electronics in it, coming from China. I'm sure there's other weapon systems, the control systems on things like, let's see, Patriot missiles. What are those missile batteries, that big square thing with about 10 tubes across and 10 tubes down, about 100 tubes that can launch missiles so fast? Control systems on that. Control systems on the drones we use, our military uses. All that stuff needs to be made here. It doesn't need to be made across the ocean to an ally. It doesn't need to be made across the ocean by a semi-enemy. It needs to be made here where nothing can happen with it. Because when you rely on somebody else for critical stuff, you're going to get let down. I don't care if it's the United States getting their stuff from overseas or if it's you relying on your neighbor. Neighbor might be a good guy, and if he's going to do something, says he's going to do it, he probably is. But if something happens, he ain't going to be there. You can rely on you. You are your own best first responder from the individual level all the way up through government. Don't rely on someone else. When it comes to critical stuff, your plan A might be to rely on so-and-so or so-and-so or so-and-so. There should always be plan B, and plan B can be found in the mirror. Oh, let me see. Didn't used to be JR. Sam, I hadn't always been a toothless redneck pig farmer. And back in the day, I wore a coat and tie to work and had my own business and all that sort of thing. And I knew Sam Walton. I wouldn't say he was a friend of mine. I wouldn't say he came over to my house for barbecue and I didn't go to his house. But I knew Sam Walton, and we both used to go dove hunting down on the same plantation down in Thomasville, Georgia. And we'd show up there at the same time sometimes. We'd be going out hunting together. And Sam Walton had a policy, made in America. If you picked up something in Walmart and looked at the sticker, it said made in America, and it doesn't anymore. It says made in China. Now, I don't blame Walmart for that. You know who I blame for all the made in China stuff? It's your fault. Where's the camera on this thing? Right there. Right there. It's your fault. And it's my fault. We'll go to the cheapest product. You find a way to take a dollar item and cut a few cents off of it where somebody can sell it for 95 cents. We'll go buy the 95-cent item. Oh, they saved a nickel on it because they shipped it overseas to where kids work for 20 cents an hour and work 12 and 14-hour days, kids in factories, like it used to be here when there were sweatshops back in the start of the Industrial Revolution. We don't care. We'll go get the cheapest item. That's a whole nother subject for a video, is who killed Wall Street. Wall Street. Who killed Main Street? It was not. Main Street was not killed by people like Walmart. Hang on, be right back. Got to check out the comments. Well, Lily, it looks like you and I agree, because you typed in a few minutes ago what I just said. Okay, Thomas just put up a link I hadn't talked about yet, and he's put it up 2 or 3 times. I saw it already. And I need to tell you what that link's for. The link is foldingathome.org. Most of y'all watching have either really kick butt or semi kick butt computers. Anybody that's doing any video editing, and I know a lot of y'all watching have YouTube channels, and you got to have a little bit of a kick butt computer to render videos when you edit and stuff like that. But that's about the only time your computer really gets pushed hard. Only time mine, either my laptop here or the desktop behind me, the only time they really get pushed, because the desktop computer behind me is kick butt, okay? It's an awesome computer. I built it myself, but I put it together with some good stuff. Your computers don't get used. I mean, you use the computer, but you don't use all of the resources that are available. Well, if y'all have ever heard of NVIDIA, if you know anything about computer parts, NVIDIA, NVIDIA, is a company that makes graphics cards, and NVIDIA came out last week. Wait for it. All of us who have computers that don't get pushed to the limit, that have extra resources available, like me, unless I'm editing a video. They came out that all of us can actually help with the coronavirus issue. And then when the coronavirus issue is over, we can help with other medical issues. A part of finding a solution to the coronavirus or any other, trying to come up with a cure, involves crunching numbers. It involves doing mathematical computations by the tens and hundreds and millions and gazillions of thousands a second. In other words, a bunch. And if you take a little bit of my computer and a little bit of your computer over here and a little bit of your computer over there and a little bit of your computer over there and a little bit of your computer over there, and use some resources, because we have internet, you can take a bunch of little computers, and what you have is a supercomputer spread all over the country by everybody who has this app on their computer. It has a way you can pause it. You start it, you just tell it to run. It's a little bit technical to set it up, but not bad. You tell it to run, and it'll run, and it makes your computer's resources available as long as your computer's turned on. You leave it on when you go to bed at night, like I do. This computer behind me never gets turned off. But the resources are only being used heavily when I'm editing videos. So I turn this app, it's folding from home, or folding at home, I think, isn't it? Yeah, folding at home. It's the company that's on the screen behind me right now. You turn their app on, and it just runs, and it uses some back and forth over the internet. They're using some of your computer's resources, crunching numbers. You go to do something where you need resources. You're a gamer, and you want to play a game, which happens to be what it's directed at. When NVIDIA came out with it, because they make graphics cards, the best graphics cards you can get, their graphics cards are in gamers' computers, and they were directing it at gamers. Here's a way you can help. Well, anybody with a computer, doesn't have to have an NVIDIA card in it. Anybody with a decent computer that has some extra resources can put the app on. You don't have to be a gamer, and you just run it. And when you want to play a game, if you play games, or when you want to edit a video, if you do that sort of thing, you just click the pause button on the app. It sits there and doesn't do anything. Leaves all your computer resources for you to use. And then when you get done with editing your video or playing your online game or whatever, just click the resume button, and it goes back to using your computer resources. So if you put that app on your computer, you can help with the coronavirus, and you can help with other medical issues that part of what they do, these researchers do, is looking for cancer cures, all sorts of things like that. So I'm suggesting y'all do it. It's on my computer, and it's something that I wouldn't worry about security-wise. I checked it out 14 ways from Sunday before I put it on my computer, because I'm real anal about computer security, and after checking it out, I have no problems with it. Oh, let's see. What else? Hang on just a second. Yeah, Lily, we gave China and other countries too much power over us. I think that's going to end. I might be wrong. Hey, Josh, gotta go before it gets too hot. Yeah, you're in the middle of summer over there. Um, Appreciate you coming in. I really do. And I'll be looking forward to your next video. That little goat's cute. Um, let's see, where was I? Anyway, the it's foldingathome.com. All one word, run together. Foldingathome.com is the domain. Thomas has a link up on it. It's something that where you can help with all this. Don't have to just sit back and let whatever's going to happen to you. Instead of it happening to you, you can participate in finding a solution for it. What else? Okay, I did a video the other day. Some of y'all are only in here for the live streams. Update on my situation, speaking of cancer. Coronavirus has bit me in the butt, and I hadn't got it. And nobody I know has it. Hospital where I was supposed to have my surgery next month canceled all surgeries except for emergency surgeries. Mine is not optional. Once I had that portal vein embolization done, that PVE, about a month ago, my surgery quit being optional and started being you got to have it, because that PVE is killing half of my liver to make the other half grow. The half that it's killing, it can only be killing it so far until it has killed it and it is dead. And what happens to parts of your body that are dead? I'm not even going to go into that. It's kind of nasty. But at some point, I have to have surgery for lost my train of thought. Anyway, my hospital is canceled. Everything is not either emergency or urgent, and I am not on the urgent list. At some point I would be, but hopefully the whole pandemic thing will be over by that point. Hospitals will quit being slammed, and I can just get back in the normal stream. But at some point, I think they would take me off of standby list and say it's urgent because it's been too long. But that's where I am right now. Surgery is not on the 13th like it was going to be. It is not even rescheduled yet. Just have to wait and see. And there's a good side to this and there's a bad side to this. Like my doctor's office his PA and I were talking. Today's Sunday, I guess it must have been Wednesday or Thursday, when my hospital, I saw in the news they had canceled it, and I called them before they called me. And talked to Melissa, and she said, well, there's a good side and a bad side. I said, really? She said, yes. You can get, I interrupted her. I said, okay, let me take a guess. The good side is my FLR. That's what, they're going to take part of my liver out, right? But the part they're going to take out is not there, not out yet. The part that will be left is called a remnant. Just like a remnant of cloth when you go to the fabric store. The part that's left is called a remnant. Well, since the part they're taking out is not gone yet, the good part that they're leaving is called the future liver remnant. I said, I've got more time for that future liver remnant to grow, right? She said, yeah. The whole point of the PVE was to make it grow so it could do the work when we took the bad out. And now it has more time to grow bigger. I said, cool, I understand that. I already thought about that. Problem is, while it's got more time for the FLR to grow, it's got more time for the cancer to grow too. She said, yeah, that's the bad side. So we just keep an eye on it and basically see what happens. It's not like I can do anything about it. I would rather it not have been canceled, but it is. It is what it is. So I just got to deal with it and move on along. So that's where we are on that. And that's something that I think we should all take away from this whole coronavirus thing. We can't do anything about it. Can I make the pandemic go away? No. Can I make people quit being crazy and buying all the toilet paper? No. Can I force the store to hold a bottle of hand sanitizer back for me so I can come get it? No. There's not a thing I can do about all this. Nothing. Now, I can get upset about it, and I can let it stress me out, which is bad for you anyway. Or I can say, okay, that's the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Except there is one thing we can do about this or any problem you've got. I think, I know all of y'all in here well enough to say that I think every one of you is, if not Christian, at least spiritual. You're aware that there's a higher power, okay? I think all of you are Christian. That makes it easy not to stress. Put it in his hands. That's what I'm doing. That's been my attitude about this whole cancer thing since it was diagnosed in October of 2018 when it was first diagnosed. I know exactly what's going to happen with the whole thing. What's going to happen is what God wants to happen, and I'm cool with that. And when we stress, that's just because we hadn't handed it to him. And I didn't mean to turn this into a sermon. I'm no preacher. But just let him handle it. He's in charge anyway. I wish I could be in charge. You ain't never seen a control freak till you see an alcoholic. And when I quit drinking, I'm still an alcoholic. I'm just a recovering alcoholic. So my personality really didn't change. I'm still a control freak. Except I'm able to let go a little bit better because I know who's in charge. So when y'all start feeling stressed about the kids driving you nuts because they're not in school, they weren't going to be in school this summer anyway. Or you're worried about, am I going to have a job? Or is my wife going to have a job? Is my husband going to have a job? Don't worry about it. Give it to God. Let God worry about it. That's what his job is. That's what he's there for. When you hang on to it yourself, you're insulting God. You're telling God, no, I'm not going to give you this. I want to make sure it gets done right, and I'm going to take care of it. That's insulting to God. Anyway, let me read comments, try to get caught up. Oh yeah, I got to mention that. JR, not yet. I'm still trying to decide what kind of Christmas. My first choice, y'all know, is rabbits, and my wife has said no rabbits. it would be okay with her if we just raised them and raised them and raised them and eventually had 72,897,642 rabbits. That would be okay with her. But since they would be going to freezer camp, she said no rabbits. That's my first choice. I kind of like the idea of guinea pigs, except they're not a viable product to raise around here. Only thing people want guinea pigs for in the United States is pets. They don't realize that in some parts of the world, guinea pigs are a major portion of the protein in people's diet. Just like everywhere except the United States, goats are right up there on the list. The United States, no, we got to have cows. I don't have anything against cows. After all, I've got some Wagyu cattle. I don't have anything against cows, but goat and guinea pigs, those are viable protein sources, just not here. Now, the goats, you can sell the heck out of goats if you've got a Mexican population anywhere near you. When I had my goat dairy between about 2002 and 2008, 20 dairy goats. And every year when they had kids, I named all the girls, Susie and Violet and Rose and all that. And I named all the boys, too. There's pork chop number 1, pork chop number 2. No, excuse me, back up. When I had the goats, that was barbecue number 1, barbecue number 2, barbecue 3, barbecue number 4. That's what all the little boys were named because they were going to freezer camp. Let's see, what else? Lily, I agree. They didn't classify my surgery as elective. They've got a classification between more serious than elective, but not rising to urgent. And that's where I am. They're still doing urgent. I personally think it's urgent. Well, of course I would. It's me. But they're still doing urgent and emergency. If you get in a car wreck and you come in there with half of the windshield stuck in your head, yeah, you're going to have surgery. But if it's not emergency or urgent, and mine's not classified as urgent, then you just got to wait. At some point, cancer would grow or the liver would fail to the point that I would be moved to urgent. And whether the coronavirus was here or not, I'd get surgery. Sadly, that point would be when I was a lot closer to not being around to do these live streams and a lot less likely to pull through it. So I'm not going to stress about it. Give it to God. Let Him deal with it. Be right back. Oh, yeah. Thomas, you're doing a fantastic job. 2 things I usually mention that I hadn't mentioned yet. Yes, I've got a book out. I think everybody in here knows about it. I wrote a book a few years ago on how to raise pigs. It was a book for beginning pig farmers. The name of the book is Yesterday I Couldn't Spell Pig Farmer, and Today I Are One. It's on Amazon. It's Kindle only. If you're a Prime member, you can read it for free. If you're not a Prime member, I think it's $8.99. One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to do a special if people get it from my link down below my video. If you see it on the video, you get some kind of a discount, but I hadn't figured out how to do that yet. And the other one, my favorite charity. Favorite charity is a place called the Atlanta Hope Lodge. It's American Cancer Society, but each Hope Lodge has to financially stand on its own. The link that Thomas put in there and that is down in the description. The link goes specifically to the Atlanta Hope Lodge, not to one of the other 36 Hope Lodges, not to the American Cancer Society in general, specifically to the Atlanta Hope Lodge, which is where I was for 2 weeks while I was doing radiation last year. And that's where I may wind up again for a little while. Anyway, that I don't like most charities. That one I like. It's an awesome place, takes care of people good, and there's a In fact, I did a video back in, April, specifically about the Atlanta Hope Lodge. I'll try to remember to put an iCard up here, a link to that video so you can, if you want to see what kind of place it is. But I highly recommend it. It's not only my favorite charity, it's about the only one. Let's see, we've been on here for almost an hour. One thing I wanted to touch on, totally off topic. Let's see, people are bailing out. We're down to 7. I don't know. I would like to think that my channel is so good that you don't even watch other channels. You come to nothing but Mountain Crest Farm. I'd like to think that, but that would be kind of arrogant. I'm not arrogant anymore. Used to be. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with a YouTube channel called Everything Homemade. A guy named Mark Carrick. I'm going to say between 30 and 35 years old. Smart guy. He liked to do things like rebuild tractors, build go-karts out of scrap stuff. He was a technical nut when it comes to computers. I don't know. If any of y'all have ever used the website The Geek Squad, he was one of the people that answered your questions and solved your problems. And his wife's a veterinarian, lived in South Texas. And I stumbled on his channel about 8 months ago. You got to remember, with all the videos I do that mention cancer, and I get a lot of the ads that get put on my videos are revolve around cancer. American Cancer Society ads are on my videos. And what's down in the description about the Hope Lodge. When YouTube starts serving me up suggested videos to watch, a lot of it has to do with cancer. Mark has been fighting cancer, I think, for about 4 years, 3 years, 4 years. YouTube suggested one of his videos about 8 months ago, and I've been following his channel ever since. And really good guy. He's got 2 cute kids. He's married 9 years. 9 years last Wednesday was he and his wife's anniversary. And he's got a couple of kids, one of them 5, one of them 3, I think. And his cancer's been getting worse and worse and worse. And about 4, and it's an oddball cancer. I can't even remember the name of it. It's a weird cancer. The doctors they tried everything. It was metastasizing all over. He had this huge thing on his jaw. And it moved to his brain. And kids really bother me, by the way. Like I said, he had 2 kids, 3 and 5, I think. And last Wednesday was he and his wife's anniversary. I've seen her a couple times in the videos. And their 9th anniversary was last Wednesday. Oh, what I started to say, about 8 months ago, the doctors, he just told him, all the stuff you're doing to you is making me feel so bad. I can't be a dad to my kids. I can't be a husband to my wife. The stuff you're doing is experimental. You say yourself, it may work, it might not. It was all shot in the dark stuff for the last year. Just Hail Mary pass. I told him, no, I'm done. I want to have my mind and for what time I've got left so I can be a husband, so I can be a father. Last Wednesday was he and his wife's 9th anniversary. And last Thursday, Mark passed away. I don't know if y'all have ever been to his channel or not. Go back and watch his videos. one thing, keep that channel going. Nothing else that'll be able to help financially for his wife. Because he was monetized, he had a lot of subscribers, and he had lots of views. And every view is going to help keep a check coming in for his wife. But besides doing that, keep marking his family in your prayers. Now, I know enough about Mark. I know exactly where he is. Mark's in a better place than he was. Last few months have been miserable. Last 2 or 3 videos he did, because he cranked out 2 or 3 videos a week, till last week when he went silent. And I know enough about him. I know where he is. That doesn't change the hurt that his family's going through. And it doesn't change that his kids are not fatherless. So keep marking his family in your prayers. And if you want a channel that will make you feel humble, go watch Homemade Everything and get to know Mark. Because he lays himself right out there. He doesn't try to be anything but Mark. Love what he does, hate what he does, doesn't matter. You watch the channel, you're watching Mark. You're not watching something that he puts on for YouTube. And pretty good guy. I wish I could have met him in person. I've talked to him a time or two. I wish I could have met Mark. He's a good one. There are not a lot of good guys left in the world, and Mark was one of them. Let me see. Catch up on these chat. $45 a piece for chickens, Kayla. If you would have a little bit of patience, why don't you order chicks? I use Ideal Hatchery in Texas. I like them because they produce chicks year-round, when most of the other ones, Cackle Hatchery and Murray McMurray, they shut down in the winter. Ideal produces chicks year-round. I've gotten chicks from them on January 3rd. You want to raise layers? 4 months from day-old chick to laying eggs, 4 months. You want meat birds? Cornish crosses will go 1 day old to ready for freezer camp in about 6 to 8 weeks. And that's a heck of a lot cheaper, and you've got a lot better quality than just some old yard bird that somebody's selling that's probably so old that it's good for nothing but boiling down for soup. But it takes a little bit of patience. Rhode Island Reds are awesome. There are 4 breeds now. I didn't have meat birds before. I was about to do meat birds when I got out of the chicken business 10 years ago. 15, 16 years ago. 4 breeds. All I raised was layers. That's all I wanted was eggs. I had a ton of egg customers. And I raised Rhode Island Reds, Barred Rocks, Black Sex Links, and Gold Sex Links, which are also called Golden Comets. They're all heavy egg layers. They're all hardy chickens for winter. And they are all brown egg layers. And they're great for free-range chickens. Those are the only 4 breeds I had. And the reason I had 4 breeds was when a chicken gets to be about 2 years old, it needs to be replaced because its egg production is going to drop off. 2-year-old chicken needs to go in a stew pot. Well, if you got 100 chickens out there, which at the time I did, I kept 100 chickens. If you've got 100 chickens out there, how do you know which one's 2 years old? Do you really want to have to chase them down to each one to read their leg band every time you figure it's time to call? No. I had 4 because I'd get 25 Rhode Island Reds, and 6 months later I'd get 25 Barred Rocks, and 6 months later I'd get 25 Black Sex Links. 6 months later I'd get 25 Gold Sex Links. 6 months later, the Rhode Island Reds, They're 2 years old. 25 Rhode Island Reds go for freezer camp, and I get 25 Rhode Island Red chicks. Say, and just rotate around. Easy to keep up with how many of what you've got that way. Lily, I'm going to disagree with you about Tractor Supply. And this is not a shot at Tractor Supply. It's a shot at any of farm supply stores that sell chicks. Tractor Supply is one of the worst because Tractor Supply is where a lot of pretend towny wannabe farmers go to get their 1 or 2 or 3 chickens or whatever. And they go in there with their kids. And the chickens are so cute. And those chickens, they're coming from the same hatcheries. Usually with Murray McMurray can supply big companies like Tractor Supply. They aren't taken care of properly. They're handled by everybody in the world. And one thing, your son, hang on just a second. All right, Drifter, you take it easy. I'll see you next time. Have a fantastic week, and you know those 2 things you got to remember to have a good week. You've seen enough of my videos. I just don't like the chicks that are handled by everybody in the world and aren't taken proper care of and all like that, like you get at farm supply stores and Tractor Supply and all those. It doesn't cost that much. The only downside is, no, you can't order 2 chicks. I forget what the minimum is. I think it's 5, might be 5, might be 10. I always bought them in lots of 25. But order them straight from the hatchery. One other thing that you need to really remember about buying any live animals to bring onto your farm or homestead, biosecurity is a big deal. Think about coronavirus. Now, chicks don't get it, I don't think. But anytime you're bringing an animal onto your property, you are taking a chance that that animal brings some disease onto your property. I have a policy here when I had the pig, before I got rid of the pigs. Now, I didn't bring many pigs onto the property. We were a baby factory. We produced 125, 150 piglets a year to sell. So I didn't bring much onto the property. But there was once or twice I bought adult pigs. Those pigs were penned by themselves for 30 days, isolated from the rest of my pigs for 30 days in quarantine. So if there was anything wrong with them, it would show up before I put them in with the other pigs, and they passed it around. That's true of any animal you bring on your property. Any animal you bring on your property, you want to isolate it, and you want to do all you can to reduce the chance that it's got a problem. And with chicks, that means ordering straight from the factory, so that some kid with coronavirus, regular flu, you name it, you don't buy those germs when you buy the chicks and bring them home. Ordering from the factory is easy. It only has one downside. The only downside to ordering chicks through the mail, when they'd come in, my post office, because the phone number is on the box. The hatchery you buy from puts your phone number on the box. And my phone would ring. I know that the truck from Atlanta, the Atlanta USPS distribution center, coming up here to Jasper, I know it gets to Jasper about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know that because at 3:15 in the morning, my phone would ring. Would you come get these damn chickens? And in the background, you hear beep, 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 beep. Chickens little chicks just raising all kind of king. And somebody from the post office, come get your chicks. Hey, y'all don't open till 8 o'clock. We'll let you in. Come around through the gate. We'll have the gate open. come to the loading dock and get your chicks now. That's the only downside to ordering chicks from the hatchery. Your local post office is going to call you in the middle of the night. Whatever time that truck gets there, you're going to get a call. All right, let's see. Even caged off. Now, way there at the local Tractor Supply here. And remember, I'm not talking just about Tractor Supply. I'm talking about farm stores in general. The way they are here is they've got it's a watering trough, a galvanized watering trough with heat lamps hung over it. And I think it's about a 150-gallon watering trough. And they put shavings in it and everything. And that's where they are. They're not caged individually, but they're in this watering trough. And I've seen kids reach over there, and they have a little fence by it, kind of telling you don't reach in, but parents don't watch their kids these days. And I've seen kids reach in and handle them. I've seen kids reach in and handle them pretty rough. And they're not they can't be isolated totally from the public, because then if somebody can't get up close and say, "Oh, isn't that cute?" and all like that, they're not going to buy them. So you got to have it where you're at least have some closeness with it. You can't maintain social distancing when you're trying to sell chicks. Those chicks got to be close to the potential customer. Anyway, I just won't buy from anybody like that. I do a lot of business with Tractor Supply. I wouldn't buy a live animal from them. I am real picky about anything that's coming on the property. I'll be right back. Oh, nobody's commented since I read the last one. Of course, we're down to 5 people now. Probably one of the reasons that there's not other people here is Trump was supposed to do a coronavirus update at 5 o'clock, and I thought, okay, that'll be over by the time the live stream starts. And then at about 10 till 5, White House announced that update wouldn't happen until 5:30. And I thought, well, he likes to talk, but just for a coronavirus update, that can't take more than 15, 20 minutes. It'll be over in time for the live stream. Well, at 5 minutes till 6, he still hadn't started. So, and my phone is making noise, and it's not supposed to. I've got it on where it's not supposed to do anything while YouTube streams on. But anyway, so he started, the whole thing got started after the live stream got started, and there's probably folks that are normally on here that are seeing what the latest is on the coronavirus. Well, folks, I think unless I just want to talk and talk and talk just to be getting watch time, which I don't do, I would say we're about done for the day. I really appreciate y'all coming. I really do. And I appreciate y'all's prayers. I know I get private messages from a lot of you, and I really appreciate it. I really, really do. And I really appreciate y'all coming to my channel. I love yapping. Y'all know that. And I don't have anybody to yap to if y'all don't come. And I try to put out some decent information. And I'll try to get off of the coronavirus all the time, and I'll try to get off of the non-homesteading stuff. Coronavirus information today was, I try to say that my channel is entertaining and informative. And today was not very entertaining, but I wanted it to be informative. There are a few little things in there that might be of help. But y'all have a fantastic week. Simple to do. Those same things I always tell you. Just in case there's somebody snuck in here hadn't been in here before, this will be for them because the ones I know are in here, I am pretty sure have heard it before, but you can't hear it too much. If you want to have fantastic weeks, if you want to have a fantastic life, it's not easy, but it's simple. All you got to do is remember two things. Number one, the tomb was empty. And number two, he is alive. Now, y'all go have that fantastic week. I know I plan to. Y'all might as well do it too. See y'all later.